Hi, in this video we're going to be looking at area, and in particular we're going to focus on the area of a parallelogram. So first of all, what is area? Area is the measure of how much space is within a boundary of a 2D shape. So a 2D shape could be a polygon, it could be a circle. Polygons include, quadrilaterals, triangles, so on and so forth. All right, so let's look at a very simple 2D figure. I'm going to look at a square. And in my square, it's going to be measured, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Okay, so this is the simplest shape I could think of with a boundary. And if you want to say how much space this figure takes up, what I'm looking for is what is within the square. So within the square, the way we would describe the area of this square is it takes up 1 by 1 or 1 times 1 centimeters squared. So in order to figure out the area of one little square, we just multiply the 1 by the 1 and you get 1 centimeter squared. Now if we had a bigger figure, let's say it's a rectangle, for example, and a rectangle is made up of multiple of those squares. So our area, well, that was supposed to be a square. Just imagine with me that it is for a moment. So if we have multiple squares that are each 1 centimeter squares, then in order to figure out the area, we would have to, and this is going way back to maybe kindergarten days, but we would count the squares going across. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 squares going across. And we would count the squares going down. Let's count over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 squares going down. So in all, this space that this rectangle is taking up is 5 times 4 squares. So our area here would be 5 times 4, which is equal to 20. And they're 20 centimeter squares, so we actually call the area here 20 centimeter squares. All right, so in order to figure out the area of a rectangle then, all we have to do is multiply what two things? Well, we're going to multiply our length, or our base, by our width, or our height. So area of a rectangle, I'll say rect for short, area of a rectangle is equal to base times height. All right, so let's stretch our knowledge a little bit further. Okay, so now we're actually looking at a parallelogram that's not a rectangle. And my argument is that the area is still going to be base times height. So why would I say that the area is base times height? Well, as we can see here, we have 2 parallel sides, we have that here. Well, first of all, what is our base and what is our height? Well, our base is here. Any parallel sides actually can be the base, but in this particular example, I'm going to call this my base, and my height is the perpendicular distance between my bases. So my height, would be that line going straight down. So why would the area of my parallelogram be base times that random height that I just drew in my figure? All right, well, let's see. If I take that height, what I've actually made is a triangle in red. Okay, so I can take my triangle and I can slide it from this side over to this side, and what I'm doing when I do that is I'm actually creating a rectangle. So now that we have a rectangle, well, you already know how to find the area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is just base times height. So in the case of the parallelogram, the area is still just the base times height. But the height is the perpendicular height, so going straight up. So in this case, our height is here. All right, so let's actually try one because they're a little bit trickier than finding the area of a rectangle. So let's say we have a parallelogram, and It's not to scale, but that's okay. This is 15 centimeters. This is 4 centimeters. And this is, let's say, 2 centimeters. All right, so as you know, the area of a parallelogram, I'll just say P for short, is base times height, just like a rectangle. Now our base, as I hope you know, is 15 centimeters in this case. And that's not where it gets tricky. It gets tricky here when you have to look for the height. The height is 2 centimeters. There's a temptation to put 4, but it's not 4, it's 2. So the height of our parallelogram is the perpendicular height. Again, our height and our base have to be perpendicular to each other. All right, so that means the area of our parallelogram is equal to 30 centimeters squared. And that's how you find the area of a parallelogram.